Mamdani thought that free groceries worked until 17 supermarkets went bankrupt. Interesting.
New York grocery stores are scared the mayor is going to put them out of business. Listen.
Prices to be able to offer food at lower prices. So I guess why not work with local stores here in the area instead of potentially pushing them out of business?
Yeah, why not?
So this is not the entire answer to our City Hall's approach to tackling food insecurity. It is one part of it.
Okay.
What I will say is that for a long time, City Hall had...
oh my God, dude. Do you want to know all you have to do to have quote unquote food security is to have actual fucking competition and just stop fucking around. Like every time the government touches something, they screw it up every single time. So if they could just get out of everyone's way and just actually let people do their jobs, then maybe we'll have so-called food security. The only reason, guys, it's so bad. Not only is the government not doing its job, but they're actually making it worse. The one job that they're supposed to be doing, which is, you know, crime prevention and like making sure that the average person can actually do their job properly. They're not doing that. But then what they do is they go in and they fuck up everything that doesn't actually need their help. So they're so far off the mark of everything that they need to fix, and they're so on the mark for everything they don't need to fix. It's actually insane. It's like they're literally so bad that it would just be better if they did nothing. That's how fucking awful they are.
Has relied exclusively on subsidies and tax breaks. There's a program called City Fresh that I've made my criticisms clear of that spent nearly the same amount of money that we're talking about spending on creating this supermarket, and yet New Yorkers have seen a rise in grocery prices across the board.
Wait a second. When you give a struggling grocery store in New
I'm just gonna show my video again. This is literally everything about them.
Have tried to win power and enrich themselves by turning us against one another. Division is the oldest trick in politics and the cheapest. But time and again, including 250 years ago, those forces of division have been vanquished by the forces of progress. As Thomas Paine once wrote, "This new world hath been the asylum," have tried to win power and enrich.
Literally that, man.
New York a tax break, you haven't spent money, you haven't lost money, you've just stolen less. And now these businesses are terrified. New York bodega owners came to City Hall last week for a roundtable discussion at the invitation of the Deputy Mayor for Economic.
Isn't it funny though how the government can do this? What they do is they fuck up everything, right? So they run businesses out and they say, well, there's no businesses, so I guess we have to take care of the business. We have to do it now. Now we have to be the ones making the business, right? And then they give themselves special tax breaks. Ain't that interesting? Ain't that interesting, Chad? They give themselves a little tax break, give themselves like some business advantages, and then now nobody can. Dude, this is typical commie shit, and this is why commies are the worst, man.
Justice, only to get barraged with intrusive questions about their businesses. The government's not here to help these guys. It gets worse. Ahead of the meeting last week, the Department of Economic Justice czar asked what items are sold the most at your stores and where is your profit margin the greatest. Wow. They wanted us to share proprietary information with them, but they don't want to answer our questions, and that's why there is distrust. Yeah, the government wants to know how to make money in the grocery business, and then they're going to use the money they make to put every single store out of business.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the first grocery store is being set up in an area where Target...
And then you want to know what's going to happen? Like, this is the never-ending complaint, by the way, the never-ending bitching. So what's going to happen is that all the businesses that like couldn't operate in the city anymore, they're going to shut down their stores and they're going to move out. And they're usually the cheapest ones, right? And like Walmart, Target, these places... these big stores operate at insane scale, and because they operate at really, really high scale, they can afford to sell stuff for a lot less than other people would have to sell their stuff for, right? So, anyway, they're gonna do that, and then everybody's gonna complain when Walmart and Target all leave, and they're gonna say, "Oh my God, it's racist. It's white flight racism. They don't want to like have a business here because they hate the black people. That's what they're gonna say every fucking time.
Already couldn't operate.
The city says has long been plagued by affordability issues where approximately 38% of households receive SNAP benefits. The area also seeing grocery stores close like the East Harlem Target in 2020.
Dude, how is it possible, you know, how is it possible that every time I look at X, there's always like a new, like every week, there's like a new like set of videos that come out of just people in the inner city being absolute fucking animals, like every time. And it's never ending. Every week there's a new set of them.
3 in the East 125th Street Pathmark closing in 2015. The concept already winning over locals.
I mean, that's actually great because most of these supermarkets around here, they don't supply good food.
This is actually a way more cooler than I think people are actually treating it.
But nobody's asking why there was a Target here and a whole bunch of other.
And the problem, right? And I keep saying this over and over and over again. The problem with that is that it creates racism. And you might say, well, Leaflit, you know, that's not the fault of, you know, like, right? My point is that the government is actually the one causing this. Because if the government went in and they cracked down on everyone that was acting like a fucking animal, then there would be a lot less racism. Because what happens is everybody else sees it and they're like, oh, and nobody's doing anything about it. Okay, well then it's just a hazard to have these people in the area. And that's awful. That's really awful. I don't like that. I think that that's very bad. We should not have a society in which people are thinking that because the government is not doing anything. So the government abandoning their duty to law and order is actually causing the racism. So the people that are like the anti-racist people are actually causing the most racism, which is like, that's gonna be real. Like, that's so funny. That's like the funniest shit ever. The anti-racists make the most racism happen. It's crazy. Like you can, it's actually such an own goal. It's unreal.
Stores here that all shut down recently. Why is that? Why did those stores close? And why is the city gonna spend $30 million not occupying a space filled by a former grocery store that used to exist? That would be way cheaper. It would make way more sense. Well, in case you forgot, the Target closed because of theft and criminal behavior that put employees at risk. Think about that for a second. That's why the area where the free grocery store is going in doesn't have a grocery store.
The initiative, the city aims to open up one full-service grocery store in every borough where strict pricing, affordability, and labor requirements will be in place. The United Bodegas of America among the critics saying the concept is more of a gimmick than a solution to the current climate, which they say will hurt small business.
You can't serve 8 million people with 5 locations. You can serve 8 million people if you work out a deal with the existing businesses.
With the first site now selected for this.
8 million people live in New York, and you're gonna have 5 stores that are supposed to feed everybody? How are people even gonna get?
Guys, what did I say? Commies ruin everything. They're like literally the worst. Commies fuck everything up. Like no matter where they go, no matter what they do, they ruin everything in all of these places. It doesn't matter. Race relations, economic, like, you know, prosperity, families, culture, they ruin everything. Like, everything, like media, right? Like entertainment, like every single thing that commies touch turns to ash. They're like the reverse Midas touch. They turn everything into like coal.
Get to those stores if they don't live near one of them. How are they gonna get there when the failing New York City public
We live on stolen land! No! Not a job!
transit system lets them down and won't bring them because people rob that every single day? And what did he just mention as the solution? Work with the existing businesses. Help them compete. But no, competition might mean somebody earns a profit. And if somebody earns a profit in socialism, that's wrong. Can't have that. Need to shut these businesses down. Business owners at this meeting, which happened last week, gripe that city officials are now only seeking their input after sparking alarms in April with the plans to build this $30 million mega mart down the street from a Target that closed that they could have just reopened. The city says its socialist-inspired vision for at least one supermarket in each borough will not directly compete with existing stores here. How is that possible? Of course it's going to compete with existing stores nearby.
Yeah.
Just because certain things aren't sold in the grocery store that might be sold at a bodega, like perhaps a lottery ticket, doesn't mean there is not competition. People are going to be flooding these free groceries.
Wait, hold on. So they're saying that because some things aren't there, that it's not competent. Guys, these people are retarded. These people are actually retarded. They're actually so stupid. It's actually unreal.
Stores because the prices are going to be lower, and they're going to be made lower with the tax dollars from the people running the bodegas. This is terrible. Mamdani's plan to subsidize the grocery stores with taxpayer funds so they can offer rock bottom prices threatens grocers who operate on a 2 to 3% profit margin. These guys are not making a ton of money in the grocery business. They're making 2 to 3%. If you erase that, they have no choice but to shut down. The only way they win is on volume. And if their customers are redistributed to the socialist grocery store, the volume is going to be redistributed, and they're going to...
That's what I was saying about Walmart, right? Is like that's how the prices go down. Is because if they're dealing in like high volume, selling things at scale. I'll explain it for, if we got any, I'll explain it in a way that makes sense, right? It's like, it's very simple, right? So let's say that you let's say that if you sold like a jelly bean, right? And you sold the jelly bean for like 10 cents, not really worth it to like keep selling them, right? If you only sell like a couple, not that much money, right? But if you're able to sell like 100, like if you're able to sell like thousands, tens of thousands a day, then it becomes kind of money worth doing, right? That's basically the deal with grocery stores. This is why they have to sell stuff for a pretty high amount because of all the overhead, right? There's like, they have to pay. Okay, here's like another thing that people don't understand about businesses is businesses cost money to even operate in the first place. It's not like the grocery items like spawn, like, it's not like they spawn it in and then, the land that they're on is free. They have to pay for the store. They have to pay for employees. They have to pay for water, electricity, air conditioning. They have to pay for all of this like stuff. And then if something breaks, and what I mean breaks, I mean like you have like a little riot and they break your store, then it costs money. And insurance costs money too, right? And then they're going to say the insurance companies will pay for it. It's like, yeah, where do you think that comes from? Other businesses increasing rates on insurance. So now everybody has to pay more. These people are just like so stupid. They don't understand business at all. They don't understand like what it's like to actually have a business, what it's like to actually have employees. They don't know any of this. They live in like fantasy land where everything grows on trees. They're just so stupid.
Have to close. And as you're about to see, helping small businesses is the last thing they want to do.
There's only going to be one of these, according to Mamdani's plan, one of these in every borough. Why would one grocery store in each borough put bodegas out of business?
Cancer starts with a small cell in your body. And if you don't extract it, it spreads. You start with one idea like this, a foolish idea.
True.
It may spread, and we don't want it to get to that. We want to
How? Like, what are you worried is going to happen?
If he decides that one store worked, maybe 2 stores would work, maybe 100 stores will work.
Oh.
And if you let him spread
Socialism
his
is cancer?
ignorance, because this is being ignorant, really, then we have a huge problem.
Yep.
Why is it ignorant?
It's ignorant because
it's never worked. Find me an example where it's worked. Find me a city-run grocery.
What they're going to tell you is that, well, last time it was done poorly. But this time, we're going to do it the right way. This time, because we know we have the secret sauce. We have solved it. We are just that smart that we've solved it. Like, we've solved it way more than anyone else has ever done. And we're going to fix it. That's what they think every single time, these people.
Store that's succeeded anywhere.
Communism
Find me a socialist economic model anywhere in the world
it's not
that
real
has brought
communism,
wealth to the people who pay into that model. Not going to happen. Also, these 5 stores, there's going to be 5 stores for 8 million people. Not all 8 million people are going to be able to get to those 5 stores, but all 8 million people living in New York City are going to have to pay more money for those stores to exist. The whole thing is a loss for everybody except the communists running the stores.
bodega owners are immigrants.
Is it ignorant?
It's ignorant because most bodega owners are immigrants. They come from very poor countries, and they come here to try to make a living and do the right thing by the city. A bodega is not just where you sell food. They're also community centers.
Yeah, I thought they loved immigrants. Whatever happened to that?
So if you're able to infiltrate government into the private sector, you're basically ruining the dreams and the spirits of all these small business people who have risked everything they have, borrowed everything they could borrow to open their small business. How are you going to take my tax dollars and use it to compete against the small business people that are trying to make a living and are paying taxes?
Because you know what? As a business owner, according to the communists, you earning an income is wrong. That means you're exploiting something.
Yeah,
so we're going to take that income away from you, and we're going to use it and give it back to the people you're stealing from. Never mind the fact that your bodega exists and puts up with the high crime.
The reason that this stuff even works, though, by the way, remember when I told you guys about how video games do really well if you're able to blame another person? Like multiplayer video games, they do better if you can blame someone else on your team for anything that happens. Basically, this kind of government works on the same principle. Is you have people that they just suck. And I kept talking about this, about how, like, if you're starving in America, it's 100% a skill issue. Like, there's something wrong with what you're doing. Like, you need to be on Caleb Hammer or something like that. Like, you got issues. There's no way that you should be starving. But anyway, so what I was saying is this works on the principle of you being able to blame other people, right? So they say, well, the problem is not me. Obviously, I'm not the problem because I'm perfect. So it's gotta be like the people, it's gotta be the business owners who are stealing from me, because I saw the business owner and they had a good dinner last night. And so that means that they're stealing from me, right? That's what they do, is they blame externally. And the funny thing about that is actually fostering that idea and letting that thought grow in people's minds, which is what these government people, these leftists do, right? Actually create situations in which they can never get out of it. Like, they literally get perma-stuck.
Which Target doesn't want to put up with after Target closes is the only thing keeping that neighborhood there. They should be thanking these bodegas. When that Target shut down in East Harlem, it became a food desert. But you know what? A lot of these bodegas stayed open. A lot of them had more business. A lot of them did what they could to stock their shelves with more and more stuff. Why is the government not rewarding them for staying open? Because it doesn't want...
We need the counter psyop cookbook. You're so right, Bruce. I need to do that.
Them to stay open. It wants them gone, and that's what's going to happen once these free stores open up.
This doesn't make sense.
In essence, you're saying that this plan will hurt the very people he says he's trying to help.
Like communism.
It doesn't make sense, because not only will it hurt the people he claims he's trying to help, he's going to drive a lot of these businesses out of business, or he's going to scare people. It's like people are scared of ICE. It's like people are scared of people like Mamdani that will come in and start opening up businesses and giving food away and competing with those that have invested their money into their small business.
How much of this is going to help your local small business? Freezing the rent on apartments, that's going to destroy small businesses. Why? The apartments are located here, and on the ground floor there's a store. Well, the rent's frozen for the apartments, but not for the store. So when the landlord has to pay his increased taxes, he's going to come to the little grocery store and say, hey, your rent's got to go up because I got to pay my taxes. Then the grocery store has to raise its prices, and all the people in the apartments upstairs get to pay more. And the other stuff on this list isn't going to help. $30 an hour minimum wage. Yeah, you want to have a grocery store run by robots? That's how you'll get it.
Listen, New York it's the most diverse city in the world. This is where the melting pot happens. And it's come together with people that have migrated here to make a living, to be able to support their families back home, to be able to better the quality of their life. They didn't come to a socialist city or a socialist country, or a country that's going to take from them and not give them. You know, listen, what we need here is to make sure that every New Yorker knows and understands, don't make the mistakes we made almost 12 years ago when we voted another socialist in de Blasio into City Hall.
Well, it happened. Nobody listened to the warning that if someone says they're a communist and they says they believe in city-run grocery stores and frozen rent, that they're going to come into office and do it. All these things are happening right now. Yet everybody in New York thinks it's going to work. You've got people clapping for the frozen rent, not understanding that the rent at the grocery store is not frozen. And if the landlord wants to stop going bankrupt, your groceries are about to cost more. But you know what? That's going to be great news for
the idea of frozen rent is like idiotic, because do these people not know that inflation is a thing? Do they really not know about inflation? It's so stupid. Dude, this is what I mean. Like, dude, they're so I know dude, I sound like a broken record at this point. I sound like a broken record at this point, but like these people are just consistently retarded, like just consistently.
The city-run grocery stores. Oh yeah, those are going to be even more popular once the grocery prices have to go up even more. Yep. Why aren't we trying to bring in new grocery stores? Why aren't we helping businesses like this Bodega right here? Look, they have shelf space. They have refrigerators. You could stock this place full of all kinds of stuff if you wanted to. But nope, the last thing the communist government is going to do is tell these businesses that they can make more money. That's the last thing they're going to do, because making money's wrong. Here's why.
Unfortunately, now the suppliers of the government run stores will not want the gravy train to stop. Yeah, I mean, of course. This is what they do. It's all like this is all just like corruption. This is how corruption starts, basically, right? Because when it comes to like capitalism, at least, you know, it really, you're also accountable to like people, like the average person, basically. Where
who the fuck is Leaflit?
If you're being like an asshole to people all the time, like they could just choose to like take their business elsewhere. But if it's the government, you really don't have a choice, right? I mean, you could vote for more people. Oh my God, dude. You could vote for more people. The people are retarded. So honestly, I don't know what you do. Honestly, you just gotta like stop letting commies into the country and actually stop letting them sign up your kids. That's really what we need to do.
Grocers are worried. It says that they first need to know how the city plans to avoid displacing existing businesses. You see, that's what they're worried about. They're worried.
Stop thinking in terms of voting. I mean, I keep saying that democracy is pretty ass, honestly.
This thing is going to open and they're not going to have any customers.
Like,
at last week's
sorry, it's not really democracy itself, as in like the concept of democracy. The problem is when people don't have the skin in the game in the actual democracy. Basically, universal suffrage is the problem.
Meeting Bodega owners got rattled because the city asked the invitees not to share details from the meeting.
That's we're a republic, yes, but they keep trying to like actually make democracy more the thing, right? And this is why you see them complain about electoral college and stuff like that, right?
With the NYC Groceries Interagency Task Force. That's weird. So they're trying to have these meetings and keep them secret and ask questions like, what do you sell that makes the most money? But over the last week, we've seen the rent freeze kick off and the grocery stores. That's what's going to happen next. And to understand what's going to happen over here, we got to look at what's already happening because rents were frozen. Watch this.
Big Apple's real estate market's taken another hit. Google co-founder and billionaire Sergey Brin reportedly dumped his stake in a New York City investment fund for pennies on the dollar. Landlords are suffering from rent controls and explosive costs under Zohran Mamdani's administration.
Yeah.
And Brin, well, he just wanted to get...
Yeah, you want to know what's going to happen? Is that they're all going to come to our states and then be retarded over here and then vote for those things. It's literal. Guys, it's a literal virus. They're gonna, you know, now that host, so it's like think of New York as like the host, right? The host dies and then the big cyst explodes and then now all the little viruses go all over, and then now they're gonna start voting for, you know, the same people that fucked up their place over there, and then they're gonna start fucking up our places.
Out before it was too late. All right, Charlie, I want to
Get
come to you on this here because
late.
the numbers suggest he took a $75 million loan.
Luckily, though, what usually happens is like, and this is always what happens, is those wasteland places, like then their place becomes such a wasteland that nobody wants to live there. And then what happens is then, you know, people that are pioneers, they'll see the opportunity and then they'll go back and rebuild it. And then the cycle continues, right? They go back, they rebuild it. And then that becomes like the new place that has been built by the hands of hard workers. And then the commies see that, and then they want a piece of that too, and then they come back.
Boss on this.
They're like locusts. Yeah, exactly. You know, that's a good explanation, JP. They're like locusts.
I wish we were all in that
It's worth
position.
how much?
Yeah, I don't know.
75 billion?
75 billion, 100 billion.
In the scheme of things, that might not be that much.
But
because
no,
it
man,
could cost him more
the
staying.
psychological pain of loss is
taxes that he's going to have to pay.
So this Google co-founder dumped his New York City real estate investments. Why did he do that? Why would he lose $700 million? Because he thought he was going to lose more if he didn't sell today for whatever he could get. There's no reason to invest in New York City real estate. And once the free
he knows that basically that there's no light at the end of the tunnel, or that light at the end of the tunnel is too far to even matter. So he's like, I'm going to lose money now and take that money elsewhere to a place that actually respects my money. And then I'll make more money.
Grocery stores come out, the exact same thing is going to happen. There's going to be no reason to start a business that competes directly with the government and loses every single time, while the government's going to tax the owners of that company for being millionaires or for earning a profit, or is going to fine them out of existence just for existing, just so that they can then beat them when it comes to the battle over people's wallets. He was invested in a company that held rental properties in New York. Those are the ones with all the frozen rent that are now worthless, that now nobody wants. Listen, when the whales are getting out, the whole market collapses and there's no recovery. Right now, in New York City, you have 57,000 vacant apartments that are regulated by the government. Why? Because they have been regulated into not being able to compete. These are apartments where the rents are frozen. They can't be renovated, with the owner expecting to recoup any of that money after renovating, so they're not. And this is what our storefronts are gonna look like. You think a bunch of storefronts are gonna be full of thriving businesses if the government's competing with them? And here's the slippery slope that we're on. The government-run stores, oh yeah, they're saying they don't wanna compete with the private bodegas, so they're not gonna sell some of the stuff at the bodegas. Well, what is the excuse for opening these grocery stores? Target's gone. All these companies are shutting down. Never mind, they got looted out of existence, and that's why they closed. The excuse is, well, there's no store there right now. People can't get what they need. So these stores, they are gonna open and they're gonna have a whole bunch of customers. But you know what? There's gonna be some stuff people buy and they're gonna say, Mr. Mayor, we wanna buy that stuff at the city-run stores. Why won't you sell us the things we wanna buy? We're paying all these taxes, you built these stores, you spent all this money, and you don't have the stuff that I need. And then the product offering at these stores is going to expand. The product offering will grow until it has the product catalog of a Walmart, paid for by all New Yorkers, but limited to 5 locations. Not all 8 million people living in New York are even able to get to. But this is what happens when you are running a city in a country you think has been rigged since day one. Listen.
Nearly a decade ago, I too felt what you feel. The joy of no longer being just a New Yorker, but an American too. You each hold a special power. The power to determine what America means. The powerful have always known their answer. America, in their view, is an arena of supremacy, where only a select few are allowed freedom, where not all are created
Who
equal.
thinks that way?
America, if you ask them.
Yeah, like literally nobody. You just guys just making shit up, basically. In fact, his side, like their side, is the ones who thinks all these things all the time. NYC going to be a giant spirit of Halloween, dude.
Becomes less the more people it welcomes.
But who are these
America,
people?
they will tell you, belongs only to those with the right accent or the right shade of skin. The rest of us, they insist, should be grateful for merely being allowed to visit. How small they are. How weak. How unoriginal. At every moment in our past, those who led through exclusion and isolation have tried to win power and enrich themselves by turning us against one another.
But that's what's happening here in New York City. You see the mayor is out there saying that the reason you can't afford your groceries is because the immigrant-owned business on the corner that is barely surviving in an environment of massive taxes and massive crime has your worst interest in mind and just wants to exploit you. That's division. When you say that the reason a person can't afford to live in New York isn't the fault of the government that is making it unaffordable here by refusing to allow houses to be built, by taxing these businesses out of oblivion just to compete with them, that's wrong. That's division. And you know why it's happening. The division here in New York is happening.
Wait, what in the fuck was that? Yo, who buys that? What the hell?
That's division.
Why do you need that much
And you know
pasta?
why it's happening.
Why do you need that much pasta with the holes in it?
Division here in New York is happening so that everybody can get on the side of the communists and can say, oh, you know what? Thank God for Mayor Mamdani. Let me hang his picture on the wall back there next to Maduro and next to Kim and next to all the other dictators in my life that have provided for me, because you know what? Without him freezing my rent, I wouldn't be able to stay here. Without him giving me free groceries, I wouldn't be able to stay here. Without him capping all of my costs.
They say that, but they don't understand that them doing those things actually, it's like an AOE fucks up everything around it, which like causes the situation like even worse.
And getting back at these.
It's like I said, like guys, it's like I said, it's an issue of constant externalization of problems where you're just constantly like, none of this is my fault. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing I can do better. It's all everyone else's fault. And then they just keep doing that all over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Greedy landlords and these greedy grocery store owners that have been stealing from me every single day of my life, I wouldn't even be able to stay here. Thank you so much for communism. That's why this division is happening, and it's happening because of the communists. Americans don't want division, and we're actually united in the idea that.
By the way, if you think about it, like even on like a more like meta level, if you think about it, what does communism strive to do? It strives to make not only just communism, but like wokeism. Like, what does it strive to do? It strives to make everything the same because they're shit. See what I mean? Like they're garbage, so they have to make everything garbage because they feel bad that they're garbage, and they can't do anything to actually make anything good. They're incapable of creating anything that anybody cares about. So they just strive to like destroy everything and make everything garbage, make everything the same. They try to make every single person the same because they feel bad about their own inadequacies. So they want to force other people to also be inadequate. It's literally like baked into the entire ideology.
Competition is a good thing. Here's why.
Liberals should love markets not because they allow the strong to dominate or inequality to grow, but because genuine competition allows the little guy to challenge the strong.
Right.
A healthy market is not one in which 4 companies quietly divide up an industry.
And I keep saying this over and over again. There's really no excuse. Not in 2026. Like the more technology advances, the less your natural capabilities matter, basically, because you have access to tools that give you other people's powers. Everyone's equal, but some are more equal than others. Animal Farm.
And use lawyers, lobbyists, and algorithms to keep challengers out.
Or where the government takes over.
It's one in which new entrants can rise, consumers can choose, workers can move, and incumbents can fail.
So what happens when the only incumbent in the new...
Reluctant Watchman says people still need vision, Leaf, and that's always rare. Yes. So in those cases, right, you have to rely on people that have vision. You have to rely on people that have vision in order to create like work for other people that don't have visions. The problem is the government gets in the way of everybody that has vision constantly. Just constantly like just sticking their grubby little fingers in everything. They make it harder for people to actually harder for people to hire by dictating what something is worth. Because they know better than us, apparently. That's how they feel about it. Yeah, they try to make it as pointless as possible to have vision.
New York City grocery business is the government, where they're the only store open. Where are you going to get a job if you don't like working at that grocery store? This is going to take opportunities away from people. This is going to take opportunities away from those who might want to start a business. It's going to take opportunities away from people who want to have mobility as a worker and want to bargain for better wages, because you can't do that if there aren't a whole bunch of places to work at. You can't do that if you can't tell your boss at the city-run grocery store, hey, I want to leave, I want to go work somewhere else. They're going to say, hey, it's the only job in town, man. You either take it or leave it, or you'll be unemployed getting free groceries like everybody else. Do you want that? Like, this is economic disaster. And how do new businesses come into this market? How do new businesses compete with the city-run grocery store? They can't, because the second they start, they're going to be taxed and punished into oblivion for even trying. And that is a travesty. And it's going to happen to New York. This thing's open. You're going to see stores going out of business. They're going to lose their customers. And you know what else? The looting that takes place in the private stores that close that Target, well, that's not going to close the city-run store, because they get all their money from everybody else. They've got all the public's money. The looters, they're going to be able to steal. Yeah, the shelves might be empty. They'll just raise taxes. They're not going to arrest anybody. They're stealing from the rest of us. These criminals are just emulating what they see the store and the government and the communists doing. What do you think about that? I'll see you in the next video.
I hate commies. I hate them. I hate commies, guys. I hate them. I hate them so much.